Hello, guys. Welcome to the podcast Scientist Secret Stories. My name is Ali Mohsin Madani. Today I have a guest. He's from East Europe and he did his PhD and postdoc in Germany. He's still in science, in natural science. Because of the anonymous strategy, I don't call his real name. Actually, we call him Max. How are you, Max? Welcome to the podcast.
Hi Ali, I'm fine.
First of all, thank you so much for the interview. And before we start, I'd like to understand a little bit you as a person. Could you describe yourself a little bit from the aspect of your goal, life, feeling? What do you want to reach in your life?
Actually, this is a very broad question, but I will try to make it brief and clear. So that I'm a scientist, and I'm scientist because I'm curious about the world that I'm living in, and I would like to know more about this world, and that's the curiosity that I got from my childhood, and I still keep it. And with the knowledge that I'm obtaining, I want to develop the world and to make it a little bit better than we have.
Yeah. You did actually your bachelor and your master in your country, and after it, you decided to do a PhD, and actually in Germany. And my first question is, why actually PhD? You a little bit described your motivation for science and discovering the world, but why PhD? You could choose another way to discover the world.
That was a very special decision because actually, of course, when I was studying at the school or even at the beginning of the bachelor studies, I never was thinking about doing PhD. But then when I was on the master studies, I was thinking about my future, and I actually didn't want to go to work in industry immediately after master. So I was still very curious about natural science, wanted to understand how the world works, and that was one of the one of the starting point why I decided to continue with the studies. The second factor was that for me, master studies was relatively easy, and I wanted to meet more challenges. Yes, and I thought that going immediately to work, it would be too easy, so I decided to meet the next challenge, and I thought the PhD would be a great idea. And I also didn't want to go to continue the PhD at the same place where I was already, because I knew that I will continue with more or less the same topic. So I wanted to change completely topic, and I wanted to go to other country, to go abroad to see how people work in more advanced lab. And that was the reason why I have applied for PhD abroad, especially in Germany. And I was very excited when I got this opportunity to go to Germany to do my PhD.
It means one of the points to describe you is you like challenge. If it's easy, it's less challenge for you, and it's not interesting for you. You like the difference of challenge, and it's the higher it's a little bit better for you. And the master was easy.
That's absolutely right. That I like challenges, and that's why I decided to do PhD, because I believe that I can do it, and that was the chance that life offers to me, and I decided to take it.
Yeah. And you said I said you did your PhD in Germany, but how did you find your PhD position in Germany? Because you were in your country and it's Germany is another country. How did you find it? How was the process of the finding and coming to Germany?
Uh, when I was doing bachelor studies, I heard from one postdoc that there is opportunity to apply for exchange programs.
Ah.
And so I already had in mind about that there are some exchange programs are existing. And then remembering this, when I was in master studies, I I just simply Google about the possibilities, about connections of my university with universities abroad. And then I found the exchange program, and then I just simply applied to this exchange program.
No.
It was not really hard. You just needed to collect some documents. Of course, it takes a little bit of time, but it was pretty possible to do. The biggest challenge was to find professor which would agree to take you
As a PhD student.
as a PhD student. But it also was not very hard because when you apply for such foundations, basically you win the money, and it doesn't cost too much for professor or for group leader to get a PhD student, let's say, for free. Yeah, that was one of the benefit of applying for exchange programs. So in my case, this exchange program was for 3 years, and I was pretty happy about this.
It means you found the exchange program with fund system or something like that. Then after it, you have to take care of finding a professor as a supervisor. And for the professor, it's easy to decide or choose you as a student if the funding is there, because it's cheaper to have you because the money is there. It's right.
Exactly, because I come with my money from project, so for professor it doesn't cost nothing. But of course it's only it costs him time to
invest.
Yes, to invest at the beginning of the new PhD student.
Yeah, I understand it. Then it's make a decision for the professor. It's easy, because otherwise, if there's no money or something like that, and it's difficult because he has to or she has to take care of the money. If the position is free or not is one part. The other part is the money, and the professor have to take care of it. Okay, and you have to, or you found your position actually, as you said, easy. No, or it's not easy. It's actually too much work. But after certain years, it looks like easy. But you did a little research and amount of time, and you were in Germany. How was your first experiences in Germany as a scientist? Because you moved from another country in East Europe to Germany. It's a little bit another culture. It's still in Europe, but it's still another country. How was your first experiences in research, or the research culture of the Germany?
Of course, on the first months when I came here, it was very exciting because I saw a lot of equipment which cost. I know that it cost a lot of money, which was not possible to see in my home country. And I was excited about international culture because I saw a lot of international students, and of course the local people are also very welcome. I was very amazed of this. Yes, however, with time I got learned that in order to compete with, not really compete, but in order to suit to their local scientific society, you really should work hard. Especially, you need to study a lot, you need to read a lot, and to make a lot of experiments to be able to present some achievements for your supervisor. And in general, to obtain some good paper, you need to follow some special procedures in order to get valuable results.
Well, why do you think I'm a foreign student too? It means I'm from another country, Iran, but I can understand why we as a foreign students or PhD students have to invest more time and more energy to get the same result, like other, for example, German scientists or students. What do you think? What is the difference?
The difference, I think the difference because it's a little bit different system, and first you need to get to used to work in the new system, and this takes a little bit more time, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, and you spoke about the system, and you start your PhD, and you was excited because here you have many equipments and devices that you can experiment more than in your country. It's very interesting from the science aspect. And how do you find the actually scientific system in Germany? And you are at the beginning new, you try to understand it, you work more. But how do you find right now the scientific system in Germany? Your opinion?
Overall, I don't see a big difference. The only difference here is that here you have more opportunities for foundation. So if you apply proposals, then you have opportunity to obtain financing of your projects, and you can buy some equipment which is not possible to buy in other countries, and this I found here beneficial.
You mean the amount of capital here gives you more chance, more opportunity to do something more what you can. But otherwise, in other countries, in your country or in Iran or some other countries, it's difficult because you don't have this capital. You have the idea, but you don't have the capital to implement the idea.
Exactly. So you have nice ideas. You know a lot. Let's say, assuming that you also were in East Europe, that let's say there are a lot of nice people that with nice ideas, with great ideas, and with big knowledge, but they simply don't have possibilities to implement their ideas. And I found this big problem, and that's why I think that in Germany, regarding this this thing, you have more possibilities.
No, I can understand it. Yeah. And you did your postdoc. You did your PhD, and after your PhD, you decided to do your postdoc. Actually, you said you wanted to discover the world. Wasn't a PhD position enough to discover the world? And what was the reason to start a postdoc? Or you wanted to discover more? Or you were still hungry?
Simply I wanted to discover more, but in my PhD times I was discovering more fundamental science. So I wanted just to know how some specific properties work in some specific materials. But then I realized that with postdoc I can also continue with research, but more in the applied area. So it's already more closer to engineering. And then I already came to idea that actually I want to have some startup. So I want to build some small company with scientific based company where I could realize my ideas and will be more independent from academia. So now I'm working in this direction.
It means you started from natural science, and after a certain time, you moved a little bit to the engineering, and you have from your knowledge a startup idea, and you develop your startup idea actually right now too, or how is the position?
It's not so simple because it's also kind of transformation that you cannot realize in one day. So it takes some long time to understand what you actually want from the life. But now I came to idea that I want to have startup, but the problem is that I don't have, for the moment, I don't have the clear idea which would be used for startup. So now I'm trying to find this idea that would be useful for people and that can be really applied in the real world. That it's not just some fiction, but something real that people need. And so that, of course, that will take some time. But I am on the way.
It means you have a huge amount of knowledge and you have some basic ideas or scientific based ideas, but for transfer this idea to a startup or to a product, you need another idea how you can transfer this scientific idea to a startup product too. And you are in this position to transfer
exactly
this. Yes. Okay, and it takes, if it's deeply a scientific product and idea, it takes maybe a few years. And it's not a few days or months, and it takes a few years. Okay, stay still on the way. Okay, we go back a little bit to your move from your country to Germany. How was your visa, getting the visa in this time? And was it easy to get a visa from Germany, or was it difficult? And after you come here, how was the extension of the visa?
To get a visa was not really hard, but again, it's something that one should do in advance, some months in advance. And it's also some bureaucracy, but it's not really hard when you already have invitation or you have some confirmation of your stipendium.
From the organization, if you have some papers or something like that, and it's easier to get the visa because they say, okay, you have the money, you have the position, and it's easier to get the yes.
Exactly. Yeah, visa basically it's not a big problem. Actually, maybe that would be interesting for local people, that because they think that a visa, like to invite somebody from abroad, it's a big challenge because of visa. But actually, it's not. If you provide the document that states that the person will be employed or that he will have some money for some limited period of time, then this is just a good reason, or that's a good reason for foreign office to provide a visa. That's not a big deal, indeed.
It's like my experience is the same. If the organization say you have money, you get money, and as a PhD student, you are actually like an employee and you get the money and you have a contract or something like that. It's not like, for example, me, like a master student without a contract. It's actually only your study, and it's easier to get a visa as a PhD student because you get money. And
exactly.
Okay, and as I know. If I'm wrong, and you can correct me, as I know you did your PhD and your postdoc in English, is right?
Yes,
or in German?
I did. Let's say yes, I did my PhD in English.
Yeah.
So um,
And how is it your
yes,
German right now?
German nowadays in the middle level. So I'm
Yeah.
still improving it
Yeah.
because I want to. Yeah, if you know the local language, of course, it makes your life much easier because you
Yeah.
can easily communicate with people on the street. Yeah, you can better solve some bureaucracy things. It's also overall it's beneficial to know some additional
The
language, and
local
especially
language
if you live in this country.
in the country. But you need your language more for your local problems or issues or something like that. But in science system, if you are inside it, this is English is not a problem because the professor speak English, the other colleagues speak English. But how is your feeling? How scientific friendly is Germany for foreign scientists? With, for example, in Germany, in English or something like that. How is your feeling? The communication, it's a little bit still hard sometimes if the German colleague speak German and they don't like always to speak English sometimes. Or how
I
was your
would
feeling?
say overall, of course, is the German society, the German scientific society is very welcome to talk in English with you, especially for PhD times. I did not find big problems with this. However, sometimes some communications are happening in German, and of course, you feel yourself a little bit outside it, and but from other side it gives you motivation to learn German, to understand better your colleagues and local friends.
You get the motivation to reduce this difference and you have the challenge to improve your German.
Exactly.
But how is it? Is another question. How is it the reports between the science colleagues at your university or your institute? Was the or were the reports in English or in German? How was it actually, or how is it?
The report,
Yeah,
because I don't really
the paper.
remember the report in the, yeah, the paper, because the papers basically during when you do the PhD in Germany, you are expected to have papers, and typically these papers are written in English. So then German in this case is not required, and the same when you write your PhD thesis, it's you have possibility to write it in German or in English. Of course, I choose English language,
English.
and that's why I did not meet the necessity to write reports in German. It's only when you apply for PhD defense or for some visa applications and you need to know German. I mean, you don't really need to know German, but you need to apply some documents in German, but this you can translate yourself.
Ah, okay. This wasn't a big challenges. I wanted to actually understand because I studied in German and everything. I can. It's actually my German is better than my English, but I wanted to see another aspect. As a PhD, do you have to communicate with professor in English or always in German, or is it a mix of this? How is it between?
I would believe that it depends on scientific group, but when you work in natural science, then you need English because most of papers are written in English and you have to understand it. And of course, when you go for conference and if you go on conference, especially abroad, then with
It's English.
English you have more possibilities to find people that can understand you.
Okay, then you have less challenge and less challenge. As we spoke, you did your PhD, you did your postdoc. It means you are for a long time in science, and you are still in natural science. It means you have a huge amount of experience in science, and you can understand the science part of Germany actually very well, or the science itself. How would you define a real science in your opinion? What is actually science for you?
Oh, yeah, that's a very special question. The real science For me, it's fundamental science. Yeah, maybe I don't want to offend some other scientists, but I think that real science is something where you try to understand the mechanics, the mechanisms that happenings in the scientific world. So basically, you want to answer on the question why it happens. The real science is a difference from application from applied science, that it's fundamental. So you want to understand the fundamental of the scientific world, and you don't think about how you can benefit from it, but it's simply curiosity about why it happens in such way.
It means generating knowledge and to understand the basics, not only building the product or something like that. Actually understand why it works like that, to generate knowledge and
exactly, yes.
And as you know, or as we know, the science has challenges and problems too. What bothers you in research so much? The challenges or the problems? What you think it's more bothering for you?
The bothering thing for me is bureaucracy, because bureaucracy takes really a lot of time. This time, which you could invest in understanding some physical phenomena. So this time you have to invest on thinking about how to apply for project. You need to find a source. You need to think about in which way you should write a proposal to get support for your research idea. And you also need to know the way in which the correct language to write this proposals that people understand you. I think that this takes that's the problem. The problem that you need to invest a lot of
huge
time.
amount of time. And if you could calculate how much % of your time do you invest in this administrative work, and which % in science itself? As I understand, you like to do your research and go deeper and deeper, but still you have to do this administrative work and write it. But how much of your time do you invest in it? 30%, 50%, on 60%? How is the balance, or where is the point?
I think overall it's maybe about to be successful in this field, you need to invest about 30% of your time.
For administration.
For administration, yes.
It's not less, but and what is your recommendation to solve these problems? At the end, there is application, and you have to write. And thinking a little about it and to write it, as you said, it's not easy, because you have to choose the right languages. We don't speak about English. It's actually language of science. To write the right languages to get the things. And what is your recommendation to solve it? Or is there any...
I would say, the requirement. I would think that requirements for the proposal should be a little bit simplified. That you don't write 20 pages explaining why you need support for your ideas, but it should be much less. And
20 pages.
I think 20 pages.
How many days do you have to invest to write these 20 pages? Or weeks? How many weeks?
Yeah, that depends. But because of course you don't write it every day, but you write it when you have some more or less free time between the other scientific duties. But you need in overall maybe 1 year to prepare a good proposal.
Okay. Between your research or something like that, between it, you have to invest a small part of your time and to prepare it.
Yeah, but of course it depends on the person. Of course, when you're a professor, like experienced professor, I believe it takes much less time because you already have some experience. But when you are just early stage postdoc, then you have to learn these things, and it's something that you nobody really teach you.
Yeah.
That you need to learn yourself, and this takes a lot of time.
And how was your experience? How many of this application was successful? How much wasn't successful? Can you say a little bit of percent? One to two?
I was in my case, I was involved in one proposal. No, actually, in two proposals. Yeah, and for me, two of them they were taking 2 years.
2 years. Yeah. And both were successful. And you get
Both are still processing.
it's still in this process. Okay. This means you have to give time to the system.
You need to, yeah, because when you apply your proposals, then it also takes time until people read it, until they check it, and they give you feedbacks, and you have to correct this. So yeah, this is it takes some long time.
It means patience is a part of being a scientist.
Yes.
All right. You are actually, as we spoke, you are actually for a long time in science. How do you feel in research right now? And would you do it again this way, your PhD or postdoc, or do you want to do another way? How is your feeling
as I said, as I said at the beginning, that you develop yourself as a person, so you cannot really say what you would change. But I think that looking nowadays in the past, I think that I would repeat my way, because in this way I really learned a lot, and I developed myself as a person as I am, and I believe that I'm on the right way, and I will achieve my aims.
You are still in postdoc, and in which direction do you want to go after your postdoc? Have you decided the direction, or it's which direction is your wish? Which direction?
For the moment, I decided to stay in postdoc, because with my ideas, I find it the most suitable position. Of course, I could consider going to industry. However, going in industry is something special, because of course can get a little bit more money, but from other side you are limited in the freedom. That's why for the moment I prefer to stay in academia, because here I have more freedom for my ideas.
Yeah.
But as I said also before, that ideally I want to make a startup, and if this startup is successful, then I could totally change from academia to business. But there is a lot of risks, and from other side, I like risks.
Challenges, so you said at the beginning.
Yes, this is something that I really enjoy. We will see.
Yeah, nice. It means it's possible that you stay in the science and be a professor, or you could transfer your idea in a startup, and still you have the freedom and with challenges. And with a startup, you have more challenges, and then it's still your freedom, and you would be happy if you could implement your idea to a startup product. Is right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Nice. Thank you so much for the interview. You have the last words to those who are in science or who want to go in science. Which recommendation do you give them to be successful in science or be happy in science?
Yeah, thanks, Ali, for the nice interview. For listeners who is considering to do PhD, I would recommend, if you like challenges and if you want to change the world, try it. So it's never bad. Of course, you always can quit if you don't like it. It's not a big deal, but it would be a big benefit if you can make the PhD and obtain the grade, because this grade will be always with you, and it will give you a big benefit for your career.
Nice. Thank you so much for the interview. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.